That I really don't listen to the radio. Like listening to my music, I'm listening to YouTube.
9.9. I'm up in Elka Park. I can tell by I was
At the end of that
McDonald's
video,
caramel
days
cracker.
later, Aiden soon uploaded
Some type of prank sales or broadcast stuff like this. So if you know how, please understand how can that happen? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Shanice. I do kind of, scary themed type of videos. So if those are some of your interests, please go ahead and check out my other videos. So today we're going to be doing a reaction video to a fellow YouTuber, Mr. Nightmare. I really love his channel because it's like his videos, it's like, it's not telling us like, oh, this happened and then this happened. It's like a first person type of thing. It's like telling a story, but make you feel like as if you're the one going through it. Like I really like those type of videos because then it's like I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing this. And it's like I just get a thrill out of that. So if you're also into that type of stuff, please go ahead and check out Mr. Nightmare. He's really good. I like his videos. So his video that we're going to be reacting to today is called 3 Animated True Horror Stories. So that's another thing that I really like is, the animated stories. Like I can deal with, just hearing it, but not animated version, but I get a kick out of the actual animated stories. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me get this. Let's go. Oh, quarantine story. We're going through quarantine right now.
In Jersey City during this coronavirus epidemic.
Oh, so this was
my roommate has since
recent.
gone home to Ohio to stay with her family during all of this. So I've been in the apartment alone. I've been mostly just watching new movies and shows. I try not to go out too much because my city is pretty bad right now. A couple days ago, I was running extremely low on food, so I had to make a mandatory grocery run.
A little side note, but didn't those apples kind of look like eyeballs? like I'm about to rewind this back. Hold on, let's look.
Much because my city is pretty bad right now. A couple days ago, I was running extremely low on food.
See, they kind of look like eyeballs to me. Wow, okay.
So I had to make a mandatory grocery run. I went to the nearby Trader Joe's wearing a mask and gloves, which, including the insane line and limited stock, turned out to be a production. On my walk home in the dark, I realized the streets were even quieter than they were the last time I went shopping just a week before. Suddenly, out from an alleyway, some guy wearing a mask and gloves approached me. He had a baby wrapped in a hoodie and small blanket in his hands. He seemed very sincere and asking me to let him take his son to my apartment real quick so he could change his diaper and feed him his food. He swore to me that he was clean and that he really needed this favor for just 5 minutes, that it was an emergency. Hearing the baby...
See, I feel like if I was in that situation, it would be like, I don't know, like I'll be stuck on what to do. Because it's like, it's this random man who's asking to, use my apartment for the baby. But on the other hand, it's a baby. Like, he's asking for help for the baby. So I don't know. I really don't know what I would do in this situation. Y'all let me know, what would y'all do?
These little cries, and the fact that this man even had a child with him and just seemed sincere.
Right.
The soft part of me agreed. I led him to my apartment.
The paranoid part of me would be like, I don't know.
It was only a short walk from there. We walked up the 3 stories to my apartment, and I led him inside, asking him to close the door behind him. I cleared a spot on the living room table for him to change his child's diaper and whatever. When I turned around, the man was like pacing around, or more like snooping around, I guess. He went into my kitchen to do God knows what. I called over to him that I set up the table for him to use. He didn't answer. I started...
First of all, there ain't no reason for you to be, snooping around or looking around in my place. There's this table right here for you. Go ahead, change the baby's diaper. That's what you needed. That's what you said you needed. Go change the baby's diaper.
Getting confused, I walked to the kitchen and saw him looking around suspiciously. And what else I saw confused me. The man was standing with what I thought was his child, held in only one hand.
So it was a fake
To
baby.
understand. It wasn't a child. It was just some baby doll wrapped up in a blanket. I'm assuming one of those realistic ones that make the crying and moaning noises. The man looked at me and pulled out a gun from his right pocket. That's where things went from 1 to 100 real quick. He looked at me with a gun aimed at me and said something along the lines of, "I'm going to take what I want and you're going to stay in my sight." Of course, I had to say okay with a gun aimed at my head. I wondered if it could be a BB gun with a tip painted black, but even if it was, I doubted I could overpower him. I couldn't risk it. The man pulled out a big black bag from his backpack and filled it with valuables, including my wallet, some of my roommate's jewelry, kitchen valuables, my brother's Xbox which he lent me, and my iPad. It was sickening to watch, but I was the most scared of him pulling the trigger of that gun.
Right. I could get all that
threw the
back.
fake baby in it as well. Then he left. I called the cops first thing. They came and helped me in contacting the building owner to see the CCTV footage from the halls. Of course, upon seeing the footage, it didn't help much. The man's face was covered by a mask, making it near impossible to even discover who he was.
And you know, the crazy part is, you know, now during today's age of the pandemic, I feel like now that everyone's, you know, some places is required for you to wear a mask, I feel like it's a lot easier for criminals to commit a crime, because unless they're just, you know, they're already stupid. Don't get me wrong, they're stupid already. But if they're, you know, careless enough to leave behind DNA, like fingerprints or, you know, a liquid DNA. But if they're, you know, careful and making sure they don't leave that type of stuff behind, nowadays I feel like committing a crime will be a lot easier because everybody is wearing a mask. So all you're seeing is probably, you know, their complexion and their eyes. You could describe their eye color and, you know, the eye shape and their forehead, eyebrows. But other than that, there's a lot of people with those similar, you know, familiarities from this part up. So if you're not getting the full face, it's hard to find the suspect. Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
Urge everyone to be careful, not to trust anyone, and stay indoors until all of this is over.
YouTube is the #1 site for millions of creators online, but as more people flood to the platform, it's...
Now, with the guy, what he said at the end was, you know, try to stay more indoors. I feel like, you know, if you're not working or, you know, getting groceries or food, if you're not doing the necessities, I don't feel like there is a reason to be out, because I feel like a lot of people nowadays feels the coronavirus is gone when it's not actually. Like, I feel like I don't understand why they opened up everything in the first place, because everything, you know, the cases has now risen. It's like, but there ain't nothing I could do. Shoot, I'm just living, doing my best to stay safe. So y'all continue doing the same.
I was taking a road trip in my Mustang from Texas to Arizona to visit my brothers. I usually keep emergency supplies in the trunk, such as water and tools. I was taking, I guess, what you would call a scenic back route, because I liked flying at high speeds with the top down without worry of other cars or police. This was one of those completely deserted seeming roads with one lane on either side and nothing but desert sand, cacti, and shrubs as far as the eye can see. I was flying down this road when the car started to emit these concerning popping noises from under the hood. and the car started to jolt or jump slightly. I put a heavy foot on the brakes to bring the car from a speeding 90 miles per hour to a less than gradual halt.
You was speeding extremely,
pretending as if I'd even know what to expect or how I'd go about fixing it.
You could do at least 90 miles.
There was no smoke, nothing like that.
If there is, let me know.
I didn't have a clue
so
what
I can
could be
stay
the
away
problem.
from it.
I got back in my car to try and start it, and as I feared, the damn thing wouldn't even start back up now. The car was an 01 Ford Mustang, so yeah, it was an old car with a share of problems.
That would be my biggest fear.
Naturally.
That would be my biggest fear, getting stranded in nowhere by myself. I will probably break down and cry, even though there's things like, AAA and everything, but I'm by myself in a place I don't know.
I tried to call my roadside service company, but bad became worse, realizing I didn't have any service this far out in the desert. I was more or less stranded. I hadn't seen a single other car pass me that whole hour I was driving on that road, and I was scared to think how long it would take for someone to pass. I waited on the side of the road, sitting on my car's trunk for literally hours, sweating my ass off. My spirits rose when I saw the shine of a car reflecting the sunlight speeding down the road in the horizon. I hopped off my trunk and started walking and waving my arms out for help, but the car didn't stop. It zoomed past me.
Wow.
Pure evil. I didn't know how somebody could leave another human being.
No, because that's a 50-50 thing. Like, I think the person could have been, just being evil. But at the same time, there's people like me, myself, if I see a random person on this random road, just, here by themselves coming, waving at my car, I honestly probably my first thought would be, I don't know, that person might be up to something. And then before I think, oh, that person might need help. Because all the Good Samaritan people that I've heard about who, stopped to help people, it didn't work out in their favor. And that person was really just up to something. So I wouldn't say the person drove past was just an evil person. The person probably was just being an evil person. Or the person probably could have been, safe, staying safe.
Stranded like that. Nightfall came and the hunger was setting in. No cars had passed since the first, and I was trying to fill my stomach with the water bottles I had in my trunk. Eventually, I saw headlights approaching. I had my car's hazards on, but I also waved my arms once more. The truck pulled to the side, and a fairly large man stepped out. I told him my car broke down and asked if he knew anything about cars, but he didn't immediately seem interested in my car. He more so seemed interested in asking me if I was alone, where I was going, and why I didn't just call for help. Then he asked me if anyone knew I was here. These questions were certainly making me uncomfortable. He finally offered me a ride, though if he was trying to make a point of making me uncomfortable, he accomplished that. I stepped up into his pickup truck, and off we started driving. He said it would be a long while before either of us would have phone service. He started asking me more questions, like why I would decide to take a back route like this. Minutes in, the truck started to slow down, and I heard him mutter, "Ah, shit." He pulled onto the sand on the side of the road, looked at me, and said the piece of crap broke down. This couldn't happen. I looked back at the man and realized he was still...
His luck sucks. First his car breaks down, then when somebody finally, offers to take him somewhere, their car breaks down too.
Looking at me. Like 5 seconds went by and he was just still staring at me. He finally asked me to go lift up the hood once he would crank the latch. I can only describe this whole situation so well, but through everything up until this point, I was insanely suspicious. I went in front of his truck with a bit of distance between the front and I, and waited to hear a click, meaning the truck's hood was unlatched. In my head, I was picturing him trying to run me over, and that's exactly what happened. As I took one step towards the truck to try and open the hood, I heard the roar of the engine as the man was on the gas.
Wow.
I dove for my life. If I reacted half a second later, I'd have lost my legs or instantly been killed. I took off running into the pitch black night, looking back to see the taillights still
Crazy
there.
people in this world.
And then this.
Whoa.
Gunshots. Surely gunshots aimed at me. That man was trying to kill me. It was too dark out there for him to possibly shoot me dead without some kind of luck.
Right.
But I thought I was going to die at any moment. I heard a truck speeding off in the distance, so I turned and saw the taillights of the truck slowly disappearing down
If you're running from gunshots, never run in a straight line. Do zigzags.
the empty road. I eventually fell asleep on the side of the road, and the nightmare didn't end until early morning, when I woke up to another pickup truck passing by. I waved them down, covered in dirt and sand, and thank God this man was actually normal, he and his wife. They gave me water and drove me to the nearest town, where I was able to call the towing company. It was a 45-minute drive back to my car on that goddamned road, then that same distance back to bring it into a shop. Long story short, this was the worst trip and experience of my life. Having someone try to run you over and then shoot at you
Right.
isn't something you simply get over.
PTSD from that.
We found Sprizzy through a Google search, pretty much. I was looking for a way to market our YouTube videos.
I legit probably would have PTSD from that. Like, I probably wouldn't be able to drive down any long deserted road by myself ever again if that happened to me. I'm already paranoid about driving down that road, let alone if that happened to me.
When I was 19, my friend Sean, who was a big goofball, came over to chill in our basement as he often would during the summer. I remember he had a Coke bottle in his hand and I was eating Wendy's when he said we should check out that creepy little cemetery across town. It was the most random idea ever, and I even told him that. Still, we had no school the next day, and I knew exactly which cemetery he was talking about. I don't know if one should even call it a regular cemetery. It's just a small plot of land with maybe 100 tombstones at most. The tombstones very archaic looking, and any time we'd pass, there would be no signs of anyone having come to visit within the last decade. The site probably dated back centuries, and it...
Alright guys, so if you want to watch that full video, go check out Mr. Nightmare's channel. It's on his channel, that's his video. And also subscribe to his channel. But that will be the end of my video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And also check out my previous videos. I also have a previous, reaction channel. I also have a previous reaction video. And I will catch you guys later in my next video. Bye.